I used to do counseling when we first started the church.
Oh, you were.
It was
How'd
bad.
that
It
go?
was not very good. I tell people to suck it up and trust Jesus. That's
Craig would be like, well, that's dumb. Stop doing that.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Pastor's Hangover. My name is Melissa, and each week we dive into biblical truth with Pastor Hal Mayer,
Hello.
Pastor Craig Altman,
She's the rock star.
Pastor
is.
Daryl Black.
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious is why do you go in that order?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you start this way and then go that way?
Because it's like
I'm just, you know,
Clockwise? No, it's not. I don't know. I don't have something.
just
maybe
curious.
she just has preferences.
That's what it's
Youngest, oldest.
youngest. Oh, wow.
Or maybe, maybe saving the best for last.
Alphabetical.
okay.
Reverse alphabetical. I got nothing. I have nothing witty. All right, we're going to...
Yeah, this is definitely not alphabetical.
I don't know. I'm trying to come up with some good reason
All right.
other than favorites. But we're coming off of beach baptism.
Oh, man.
Yes.
How
1,000.
amazing.
1,000 people.
1,000
plus.
people.
It
Yeah.
was an exciting time.
It was just the number of people that were out there too that weren't getting baptized that were coming to encourage.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing that was different, especially this year, was the number of people coming out.
Yeah.
Just extras, just coming, just to support. And it was just one of those dynamics. And we said it on the weekend. It's one of the times where we get to feel like we are one church, one location.
Yeah. That's good.
Versus eight locations,
I
one
think
church.
like 3,500 plus people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. People were even on boats watching.
Yes.
People get baptized. They stopped and pulled up and was like, we want to watch this and be a part of
I
this.
was a witness to the whole beach because some people didn't know they were part of our baptism.
No.
They got a whole.
That's
Did
for
you hear
sure.
the story about the guy that said, "Hey, I want a free T-shirt"?
No.
Hilarious. He comes up to one of the registration lady. "Hey, I want my free T-shirt." She goes, "Oh no, this is a water baptism for people who." He goes, "Well, what is that?" She gives him the gospel. He accepts Christ, gets his free T-shirt, and gets baptized. True story. Yeah.
Came for a free
Can't God
T-shirt.
do
Free
it.
T-shirt. He
Met
sold the free
Jesus.
T-shirts.
Won't
Yeah.
he do it?
I wonder how
Come
many
on.
credit cards that man got in college. A free T-shirt.
Yeah. We
No,
just
that's
believe it's
awesome.
real, though. That's pretty cool. One of the ladies
Wow.
sharing that story.
That is so cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
You
And
never
there's so
know.
many stories like that. There's a
Yeah.
couple that came from their wedding.
Yeah.
There's a couple that he got out of the water and proposed
Yeah.
Yes.
on the beach.
But the
Like,
one from their
so
wedding,
many
they
cool
had
stories.
been, living together for 18 years, got married, wanted to get things right with the Lord,
Yeah.
and then said, "We're going to wait for the water baptism." Did it all in one day.
That's awesome.
Married,
cool.
baptism. Woo!
Wow.
Marriage is like a baptism, though.
Yes.
Let's talk about
You're held
marriage.
Isn't it,
underwater
though?
sometimes.
How's that for a
I
segue?
love that. That's one of your best segues
Nice job.
you've done in 40 years.
Nice
That's one of the.
It's usually Melissa going, all right, so what we're going to actually talk about today.
That was clean. Let's go
Great
into it.
segue.
Hey, the message unstuck. It was real practical for marriage. If you
Yeah.
listen to it, get into it. Because listen, everyone gets stuck.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the biggest lies the enemy tells us is you're the only marriage going through
yeah.
this. And that's why it's funny. People are like, did you read my mail? And I'm like, no. All of us go through these things.
Yes.
All of us do. Like, it's just, and that's why comedians, when they use marriage, like, it's one of the funniest things because everybody in the room is like, yep.
Yeah.
Done that, been through that. And so it's one of those dynamics. It's like, yeah, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
But it's a choice that we've got to make.
Yeah, the enemy says, "Oh, you're the only one that has a woman like that, or
Right.
you're the only one that has a man like that." So untrue.
Yeah. You're the only one that had those fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the only one that fights about dumb things.
Yeah.
No, it's all of us.
We all do.
I loved your line that the battle, we're at war, but not with each other, with the enemy. That we got to turn and back up one another.
Yeah.
And fight the enemy because he wants to break up the family. That's how he breaks up a community, a city, a nation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. The key takeaway for me was a godly marriage on mission.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you talked about. What is the mission for your family? What's the mission for your life? And we got some great questions. And this podcast is for people that want the next level meat, right? They want to learn more.
Go a little deeper.
So one of the questions was, I feel like I'm in a Christian marriage and we're on mission, but I feel like it's harder on us than our friends who aren't living on mission. They aren't Christians. They just spend their time doing frivolous things. It seems like they're in a better place than we are.
Yeah.
So talk to them.
Well, one, I think we assume from what we see, we know the entire story.
Yeah.
done ministry long enough now to see people that seem like everything's going great, and behind the scenes, it's not. And the other dynamic is, I think sometimes we also don't understand that a lot of people do all of these things to cover up the fact that it's not going well. There's a lot of self-medication that goes along with that. But at the same time, I will say, yeah, it's not easy to do things God's way. It's not. But it's not like in this moment we're getting the same rewards, but in the end, it's a very different dynamic. Like it's what we're building right now. We talked about sowing and reaping. What they're sowing right now doesn't lead to a greater marriage. It doesn't lead to a greater legacy. It doesn't lead to all of those things. But in the moment, it's like, dang, I just want to have fun like that.
Yeah.
Man, I just wanted to do that. And that's easy, but that's easy to do in every stage of life, is to go, it's like always the dynamic. Well, why is God prospering the person that they're not doing all the right stuff? And we don't always know why that's happening, but we do know when we do things God's way.
Yeah.
It is what the reward is so much greater. The legacy is so much greater. Yeah. The relationships are so much greater. And don't give in the idea like just because they're going on all these trips and doing all these things that they're really that happy.
You got to run your own race.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not running their race. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes in those people's lives. And I mean, but I would say this, I know some people who don't know the Lord that have good marriages because they're using Christian principles and don't even know it.
Yeah.
There are those that, so I'm not, you know what I mean? We can't say, oh, they're frivolous. But I would say this, if you're on mission, you still got to have fun.
Yeah.
On mission with your marriage, gosh, have fun.
Absolutely.
You got to have those fun times, but you do look at things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good, because good marriage principles work because they work. Whether you're a believer or you're not a believer. And so I would say anybody that's going, maybe they're envious, is first, I would say don't envy what looks easy that's not eternal. We're playing a different game.
Yeah.
And so we have an eternal assignment. And so I think comparison is always dangerous because you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Most people show you their Instagram version of themselves.
Yeah.
They show you the Instagram version of their marriage. They show you the trips. They show you the money. They show you the happy moments. I mean, not a lot of people post videos of their arguments.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. Yeah, people
true.
aren't posting videos of their disagreements and what they're annoyed about on a regular basis. And so we see through this lens of, man, that's going great because you're sitting in yours, because you feel the tension that's happening in your relationship, and you're going, well, look at the Joneses.
Yeah.
They look happy all the time.
Yeah.
I've seen people who look happy get divorced.
Yep.
All the time. We've seen it for years. But again, good marriage principles work whether you're a believer or not believer. So you have to also ask yourself, you have to own, are we practicing good marriage principles in our marriage?
That's really
Am I
good.
comparing myself to something that I'm not even doing?
Right.
Yeah.
And so am I practicing good marriage principles? And if I am, then I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
We're not doing the same thing. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Even when it doesn't feel like it, I'm blessed, because marriage is this supernatural, eternal thing. It's not an earthly thing. It has a bigger impact. And so I would say, the world builds relationships on comfort and what looks good and what feels good for the moment. But as believers, we're building marriages on covenant and what God says. And so we're leaving legacies of, this is what God ordained. This is how it's supposed to look. And we're doing it well. Yeah. But also have some fun.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Have some fun. Like me and Tracy, we take having fun seriously. And too many couples, they go past what they call the honeymoon period. There's always, like, I think the honeymoon period is as long as you want it to be. I'm still in my honeymoon period. Why? Because we enjoy each other. Yeah. And so this guy, I was talking to this couple the other day, and he said, we don't have any peace in our house. And I said, if you don't have any peace, it's because you're not bringing any.
No.
Yeah.
You bring some peace.
Yeah.
Show up with peace.
Well, you set the environment in your home.
That's it. You get to design the marriage that you want.
Yeah.
No one gets to do that for you. So if your marriage feels off, design a different one. Literally sit down, write it out, be intentional, and say, this is the marriage that I want, and then walk out the steps to do it. And if you don't know what to do, bring somebody else in, like a therapist or a pastor who can evaluate and say, here are the areas that you guys are missing the target, and here's how you get better at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that any marriage, you have resets.
Yeah.
You got to go, hey, wait a minute. I just feel things get a little wonky. Can we sit down and both be humble and go, this is where it's landing, and just have, and they're afraid to do that. You got to have those good conversations. And if you can't get past it with one another, we strongly believe in godly Christian marriage counseling. You need an unbiased person that can speak to you. And I'm just going to say this. The women a lot of times want to do it, the men don't. Men, come on.
Yeah.
Man, if you want to be better, sometimes you got to put some work in, invest some time, even some money. Because, man, believe me, divorces cost way more than hours of
therapy.
Yeah.
Marriage is the second most important relationship you have in your life outside of Jesus.
Yeah.
You get married, it's the most important relationship. We train for everything. We go to school for years for everything. But then marriage, we think is going to work because I like you.
Yeah. You pay $100 an hour for a golf lesson, but don't want to go to a marriage counseling
and it's
therapy.
like, bro,
That's good.
And for a lot of stuff, it is, we're not as off as we think we are,
Right.
but we've developed this hoarder mentality that stalls us. Man, it's too overwhelming. She never listened to me. He doesn't understand. So then we don't do anything. So we don't commit to being intentional on how to communicate, or we do this. Ooh, I like this. We say, I tried,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. Well, then you didn't try. Don't try it. Do it. Why? This is my purpose partner. I'm going to be with you and for the rest of my life or till Jesus returns.
Yeah.
So I'm committed to having a PhD in our relationship. So I'm going to spend the time that it takes. I'm going to learn how to be a better communicator. I'm going to learn your love languages. I'm going to learn how to serve you well. And I want you to do the same for me. That's an intentional relationship. And I'm going to learn how to leave a legacy because the marriage is bigger than both of us.
Yeah.
This marriage ain't about us. We get to be in it. But this marriage is about God. So I want to represent God well. And I'm going to learn whatever I need to do so that we represent God well.
Yeah. I think the bigger, higher level you're talking about is you made a vow to God. You're a covenant to God about this marriage. So there's times where like, man, I don't know, this is 46 years I've been married. But I made a covenant with God. This is the woman that I'm going to commit the rest of my life to, and there's no exit, Right. So it is a little higher than even for that person. You're making a commitment to God.
Yeah, and I'll say this: sometimes it feels like everybody else is doing better because they're allowing the trash to build up, and you're not.
Yeah.
You're actually trying to take it out.
For sure.
And it doesn't feel great during that time because there's that part where it's like, all right, we're walking through this. We're trying to figure out these things, but it's always better on the other side.
Yeah.
Like doing the work creates better relationships. And so it's not like I just try. It's like, no, I'm going to do the work. Yeah. And it's because the past 10 years I just said I tried that it's built up so much to this point. And so sometimes I just got to go, I'm going to stay in it. I've got to figure it out. I'm going to walk through it and do it. But
it leads into it. I know I saw the questions that when someone's trying but not seeing the fruit. What was that question? That ties right in.
Yeah.
Maybe we can help this person.
Yeah. I've sowed good seeds into my spouse for years, but I'm not seeing the fruit from those seeds.
That's a tough one.
Galatians 6:9 says, let us not grow weary in well doing, but in due season we will reap if we don't faint, if we don't give up.
That's one of my favorite verses.
Like, I love that because old preacher said, due season is not your season. Due season is his season. And I think sometimes, whether it's marriage or any relationships, we can be praying for something for a while and go, it's not happening. Why isn't it happening in the time that I think it should happen in? I've been praying for this for years. And God is going, no, it's not your timing, it's mine. And you never know what God is doing. And I would say, keep praying for your husband. Keep praying for your spouse. Keep investing in them because you could be planting a seed.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it Paul that says, one planet, Apollos,
one water,
one water,
and God brings a harvest.
Yeah. So it's, you never know what processes it is that you're in. So continue to keep planting. Continue to keep praying. You don't know how much transformation is happening down deep where you can't see it.
But can I do a but in here?
Do a but. Come on.
So I feel this person's like, man, I like to see a little fruit, a little bit of reciprocation. Yeah. So if it truly has been years and there's been no movement, you need to have some conversations. You need to be able to sometimes go, maybe it's not direct at the beginning because people are defensive. Write a little note. Hey, I've been da-da-da-da. Can we talk? Because I feel like and just really. So you can pray, and I'm 100% about prayer, but sometimes you got to call it to the table a little bit, and there needs to be accountability on that person to go, I've been planting seed, but we need to talk because I feel like this is one way. I feel like this relationship is one way right now. And it's okay that you have that conversation. But you got to know the timing of that. If you don't feel called to do that, you keep. But this person sounds like, man, I've been doing it, haven't seen result. Don't be afraid. You got to. Sometimes I always say this, man. You don't have to be a nag, but you got to use your voice. My wife, men don't get it sometimes. First 5 years of my marriage, a lot I didn't get, and my wife had to sit down and share some things with me. I mean, she did it in a respectful way. I'm like, really? I didn't know I was doing that, because one of the things she told me early on when I was in youth ministry, it's funny how you can set an appointment with everybody else but me. And I went, ooh, that's probably true. Life gets out of balance. I'm not intentionally neglecting or ignoring. And she was praying, but she got to a point that said, I'm gonna have to bring this up. And that's why either you get, you have that meeting, or you go see a counselor together, and it comes out. Because I do feel for that person.
Well, and sometimes you need to have conversations because what you think you're doing may not be what you're doing. Because I've had people tell me before, well, I'm praying, and then I'm finding out later, they're praying, but they're still treating their spouse not in a good way. That's not, and
but
so
this person is.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. They're planting seed.
But it may be, and then we know this, like the way that we think we're loving them is not always the way that they receive love. There's a lot of other things. And that's why it's either have the conversation. We got to continue. That's why we need to be able to have conversations. But two, at some point you bring in a counselor to be able to go, all right, so this is what you think you're doing, but this is what's actually and how it's coming off. And that's the hard part about marriage. It's two very different people coming together. And it's like everything you think that they should understand because that's the way you grew up, they have no idea. From the way you fight to the way you receive love to so many different things. And so it is. You have to be proactive in these things. Have the conversations when you need to bring other people in. But this is also why we talk about this so much, why each of you needs your community and your people too.
Sure.
Because one of the things that if I wasn't getting over and over again, Chrissy has permission to go talk to Mike Ash and say, Hal's not getting this. I don't know what's going on. So he can have the conversation with me and we can walk through this, or in the other way. And so we need more than one person. And one of the hardest things for men is to have men in their life.
No doubt.
And so as men, let me just say this, you got to have somebody. I'm not saying you got to have 12 people like Jesus did.
One trusted person.
You got to have one trusted person that will speak truth to you and not just back you up, but can be a part of it. And the same thing with women. You need to have women that will speak truth to you that are not also angry at their husband or angry at men or whatever that may be. In the same way, a man that's not angry at his ex-wife, like you need people that are for your marriage that can speak truth in your marriage.
And there's great material out there. If you read something, 5 Love Language was an old book, but it's a great book about how people give and receive love.
Absolutely.
This is what makes that person feel loved. You might be sowing the wrong seed, sometimes.
That's true. Because we usually want to love people the way we are loved. So we'll keep doing the thing that we think is love to them and go, why aren't you accepting what I'm doing? Because that's not how they receive. I think the other thing for somebody that's been diligently praying, I would ask, what is God telling you in prayer?
That's good.
What is the Holy Spirit saying? Because my understanding of prayer is this. When you're in a committed relationship with Jesus, you're going to walk away with something every time, whatever that is. And maybe it's pray again. Maybe it's surrender. Maybe it's have the conversation. Maybe it's whatever those things are. And for everybody, it's different. It could be,
that's good.
I prayed and the Holy Spirit told me to pick up my socks. I prayed and the Holy Spirit told me to go buy flowers. I prayed and the Holy Spirit told me to go cook a meal. Whatever that is. What is God telling you to do? Because often we'll go pray, but then we won't do the thing. But then we'll go, well, God, I prayed, so it should change because I'm praying all the time. But you're not doing the stuff. Because I've battled with doing the stuff. Like I've prayed and like Tracy going through something and I'm praying and I'll hear God say, your wife likes roses. And I don't buy them typically, if we're in an argument, I just buy roses because it's Tuesday. And so, but if I hear the Holy Spirit, go get some flowers. I don't want to go get no flowers. And my wife wants me to go get roses from a particular place. I don't want to drive 35 minutes to go get those roses. But I heard the Holy Spirit, and I still won't do it.
Yeah.
But then I'll come home with a better attitude, or maybe I go to Chipotle or bring some Chick-fil-A, and I'll do something different.
Right.
I'll substitute what God said. It's like, look, God, I did something. This should count for something.
Yeah.
And
That's so good.
it's like, what did He tell you to do? And in the time frame that He told you to do it in, go do it. Because you will see the benefit of that.
That's funny story. It has nothing to do with it. Does. But this guy, about 20 years ago, when that young church, and this guy, man, my wife's really upset with me. And I thought I was doing what God wanted me to do. I said, well, what happened? He goes, well, I was praying and God told me to go buy a bass boat. So he goes and buys a bass boat, pulls it into the driveway. His wife said, what's this? God told me to buy this bass boat. I said, bro, I don't think you communicated well enough on those large purchases. I'm serious. I'm like, oh man, I don't know what it has to do with it. So yeah, you want to know why his wife is mad at him.
Yeah. Because many times what God calls us to do in that is also to serve them.
Yes.
And so I want to serve them.
Over that story.
I did. I was going back. I was going back to the
Didn't
point.
serve.
No comment.
Well, but no, but many times we don't want to serve them because we're like, well, they're the ones in the wrong right now.
Yeah.
What do you mean you want me to serve them?
Yeah.
And so we don't listen a lot of times to what it is that God's saying. It's like, no, we need to listen and we need to do it.
We need lots of humility in our marriage, because even if you feel like you're 90% right, you got to own that 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And if you think you're 100% right, you're way off. It's always something.
Usually, don't like to admit it, but absolutely.
I love it. I love what we've covered, telling the men to get in community, the men to take personal responsibility.
Are we picking on the men?
No.
Oh,
we
okay.
have a question for the ladies.
Okay.
Is really why I feel like
this is the most dangerous question on the podcast.
We've hit the male
Okay.
question mark. Are you ready? I don't think I'm ready.
There we go.
Proverbs 27:15 says, an endless dripping on a ring.
Wait. Before you even read this verse, this came from
A woman.
a woman. Okay.
We didn't bring this one up.
She wrote the verse.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Read it again.
Okay. Proverbs 27:15. An endless dripping on a rainy day and a nagging wife are alike.
Yeah.
The question is, if I've had conversations with my husband about unmet expectation, what I want, I feel like I've communicated what I want him to do. How do I not come across as a dripping faucet, as a nagging wife?
I can tell you how I would do it. Number one, your tone is critically important. How you present it, and affirming what's going well. You know, I mean, you're affirming that person, but he said, but there's a few things that I want to bring to the table. I've been praying about that I want us to be able to talk about. Again, I would say don't ever attack the person. You know, talk about the problem. Yeah. There's some ways you can do it that may bring down the defensiveness of a person or of a man, because there is a nagging that can be a tone and a constant dripping, and you can beat a man down.
Yeah.
You can beat him down thinking you're getting somewhere, and you think the more he backs off, the more you push forward. And man, that goes the wrong way fast.
Oh, yeah.
That's just some practical thoughts.
Yeah. It leads to passive men.
Yeah.
Which we hear all the time. My husband's passive. Look, there's so much I cut out of this message. And I was actually going to, but part of it is this. It's like, one, there's a side of men owning up to being passive. But two, there's a side that women have to look at. Did I create an environment that made it the only safe place for my husband to be is in passivity? Wow. And so, and that can happen. We've seen a lot of it. It's like, well, I never make a good decision. I never do it. So the best thing for me to do is it's actually safer to go hands off. And so that's
I'll say this: when you nag about everything, they hear nothing.
Yeah.
Pick the things that really matter.
Yeah.
There are certain things that don't matter, but there are a few things that matter to you that are high up there. They're important. They're big things. Man, you got to figure out a time where you can talk about those things. But if it's everything, they're not going to hear the most important things.
No. Yeah, and having needs, and I hear this and I've heard this. Yeah, but I want them to know, how I feel. I have needs, and having needs doesn't make you a nag. but repeating them at the wrong time with the
Timing's
same
important.
tone, with the wrong tone, with the wrong clarity, with no strategy, that's what makes you a nag. Because here's the strategy part of it. You can have what you need, but are you telling him what he's valuable at? Like it's easy to say, you're not doing this and I need this and you're not doing this and you haven't brought this and you haven't done this. But are you also saying, man, you're really good at this.
Right.
I really value
Affirming
that you,
those things.
I really value that you do these things, because if someone only hears the negative, they'll begin to shut off and they'll find positives other places.
Ooh, there you go.
It's not healthy, but it's true.
Yeah.
They will find positivity in isolation. They'll find positivity on the internet. They'll find positivity at work, because when a man goes to work, he's affirmed. You do it well, we pay you for it. We celebrate you, and then to come home and go, I can't even be celebrated in my own house. And while there may be problems, everything is not a problem, and sometimes it's not the timing for all the problems. That's why strategy is important. And then clarity is very important. What do you want, and why does this matter? And I'm just, there's an exception. There's an exception to the rule. Men talk in straight lines, women talk in circles.
True.
They're not bad, they're just different. And so for women, everything is connected to everything. So men could ask a question and they just want the answer to the question that they asked. Hey, babe, what do you want me to do? Give him the answer. And if you don't know what that answer is, don't answer him. Let me go and think about it so that I can come back and give you a clear, respectful answer, because you think differently than I am. He's not wrong. The way he thinks is not wrong. Women, he's not wrong for thinking that way. Men, she's not wrong for thinking that way. We have to honor each other. Hebrews 1 says honor the marriage. So we have to honor where we are. So it requires some thinking. So when he says, what are we eating for dinner? Women don't go, well, I went to Publix and they didn't have the chicken that I want. So then I saw Susie. You remember Susie? Susie from that Christmas party from 2015. You remember Susie. Susie had the little boy and girl, what are we eating for? I asked one, and it's not that Susie doesn't matter, but please, can we answer this question first? And so clarity, it matters very much to me. And so
that's good.
Because it doesn't matter how many times you've said something. It matters how you said it, and then when you say it. And then when that person does it, husband or wife, when they do it, affirm that they did it. Man, I really appreciate that you listened to me. That you spend the time. Hey, I really appreciate that you did that thing. What that looks like. I really would love for you to plan a date for us. And they plan the date. And if you want him to plan the date, let him plan the date, and then be happy with whatever date he plans. He plans the date. You may not love the date, but he planned the date. So affirm, man, you planned it. And we can work out the next dates.
That's good.
But it's 52 weekends in a year. Your life is not going to be ruined because he did one thing that you didn't like on a date. Affirm that he did it. I appreciate that. You put work into that. And those things matter. So
one other thing, it's kind of ties into this, is they did a poll, Gallup poll, or I think someone, and what's the number one thing a man wants in his marriage? And it came out like 80% respect. So respect ties into, be respectful then. When you're going to say, hey, I have a thought or a need, if you can do it in a respectful way, it's much more going to be received. I mean, men want that.
Men want to know they're winning. At least at something. And so like when you talked about it, like if you give him an exact task, he's more likely to do it because he knows he's going to win. But if you give him an entire idea of how you want to feel, I don't know. Because they've tried, they've like, I did this, but this isn't. And so it's like, and not that you can't over time him figure it out, but it's like one of those dynamics. Like if you're in a situation where it's going rough and you're like, the more specific you get, the more likely he's going to be able to follow through. And the better the conversation after, because you can go, this is what you didn't do, not, well, I didn't feel this way this last week. Well, I don't know what leads to you feeling the right way. Like I need help in this many times. And that's the thing. We got to be okay understanding we're very different. We're very different. And let me just say this on top of this, and this is for both sides, men and women. Sometimes we have to look at our expectations and go, is this possible with the person I married?
Yeah.
With their personality type, with how they're wired, with all not that they can't try in certain ways, but is my expectation for someone that doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Or is my expectation this perfect idea if somebody else was the person that I married? Or am I looking at another marriage and going, oh, I wish you would treat me like that? But that person's the total opposite of the man or the woman you married. So sometimes we have to go, okay, so what is a way that they can love me? But that expectation of them,
that's
just not possible.
That's huge.
It's not possible.
And also, I know this is going to shock most women when I say this.
Uh-oh, here we go.
We're not mind readers.
What?
I mean, ever had that, like, they assume we should know a certain thing, or we're like, man, I have to admit, I'm clueless. You know, man, just tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, be specific with me. And I used to write things down because I want to,
That's awesome.
I want to, you know.
Yeah. And that doesn't make it any like that's the thing. Well, it's not romantic if you don't do it. No, look, that's how I can be romantic is I can plan it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's just not crossing my mind.
But if you cared,
Right.
you wouldn't have to.
Right.
Did you think about me during the day?
You should just know.
You should just know. Oh, now
Maybe.
we're in trouble.
But yeah. It's that's just the thing. It's different. And that's okay. And look, it's more of the idea of, are they trying? Are they moving forward? Are they looking to do these things? Not, are they doing it in the exact way that you wish they would do it? Yeah. You need a guy that loves God, loves you, and is trying his best.
Yeah.
If you're stuck, get into a married life group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get some counseling. If you're really stuck and nothing's changing, unless you prayed and God said, no, just wait.
Yeah.
Man, you got to move forward. You got to own some things.
Yes.
See it, own it,
Release it, move forward.
and move forward. But moving forward, maybe we're going to have to move forward get someone in to help
We need
us.
other perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody has the ability to speak a language that both of you understand.
Yeah. Like the inability, and this is more so men, and I know there are exceptions to the rule. You don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you not go seek help? And I know that there
Men
are
and
some
women.
stereotypes about going to therapy that I can talk
bash
to
their
that.
head.
There are some stereotypes about men feel like it's a women's environment, that they're going to be on the woman's side.
Right.
Listen, if the first one doesn't work,
another one.
go to another one, because
Find
you
one
want to
you
be
both connect
someone
with.
in your room. Yeah, you want somebody in the room with you that can be a good mediator, and they're not on anybody's side.
Right.
They're
They
on the
shouldn't
side
be.
of marriage. They're on the side of you being successful.
Right.
And not everybody is for everybody. So not every therapist is for you. So go to
That's
another
good.
one. You would do the same thing. Like I've never heard of somebody going to a restaurant once or twice and said, "I'm not going to any more restaurants ever again because I had a bad experience." No, you go to another one and then another one and then another one until you find, this is what suits my needs. And you may have to do the same thing with therapists.
Yep.
I used to do counseling when we first started the church.
Oh, you were.
It was bad.
that
It
go?
was not very good. People went one time, they want to come back.
Chris counseling.
Why? 'Cause you're
was
very
just
straightforward.
stop it.
Just wasn't patient. I met this one couple,
just stop.
and I gave them some homework to do, and they came back.
It
And I
was
said,
an old skit
"Did
from
Mad TV.
you do
Yeah.
anything?"
I've actually seen that.
That's a funny one.
hysterical.
The
Stop,
1 minute
just stop it.
counseling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not good at it.
Pour their heart out. So what should we do? You should stop it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Well, do you want to live in fear? No. Then stop
Then
it.
stop.
And we're 5-minute sessions. Remember,
Yeah.
like 5 minutes. That's my kind of session.
Just run them through.
5
It's
minutes.
got a line full of people.
I tell people to suck it up and trust Jesus.
Craig would be like, well, that's dumb. Stop doing that.
Oh my goodness.
But there are some gifted counselors out there, no doubt. Yeah.
I don't even know where to go from here, but this is
I don't know.
awesome.
Yeah.
We covered the men, we covered the women, we covered marriage, what it looks like to move forward in godly mission and unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's wrap with this. The unstuck framework: see it, own it, release it, move forward. But what happens when an old hurt from my marriage comes up? This person had listed pornography, addiction, drugs. When it resurfaces, it feels like opening an old wound.
Is it that it happened again, or is it that their thought? Because
You
that's
take the word of God.
Yeah.
You take anything that exalts itself above the knowledge of God, you got to pull down those imagination, those strongholds. It is a battle of the mind when that stuff comes up at you.
Yeah.
You really got a battle in your mind.
follow the framework. See it.
Yeah.
This is a lie. This is the enemy trying to come against me. Own it. You know what? This happened, but this does not affect me anymore. This is not a part of my life. And then you got to release it again.
Yeah.
Just do that every time it comes up. If you continue to do that and then move forward and continue to go, we're both moving towards this. And so I've got to do that. It's not easy, but if you thought it, I mean, think about it, the enemy. It's a perfect thing to bring back up.
Yeah.
It's a perfect thing to throw back in our minds and go, hey, well, remember this?
Yeah. Or they did this.
Yeah.
It will come up. Healing doesn't mean that it will never be touched again.
Yeah.
Good.
It's going to come up. But what it means, being healed means it's not going to affect me the same way.
Yeah.
It no longer controls my emotions. And so you get to walk through that framework, like you just said. You get to walk through the framework, see it, own it, release it, and move forward. So that is the perfect framework. So when it shows up again, whatever that looks like, walk through that, see it, acknowledge it, don't bury it, don't act like it didn't exist, own it. How did we get here? And what do we need to do? What patterns have we been repeating that got us back into this place again that we let go? And then release it again. God, I'm surrendering this back to you again. And then what are the steps for moving forward? Are there different boundaries that need to be around here? Are there better conversations that we need to have? But man, we're moving forward.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys, the Marriage Reset. And now we're going to celebrate the end of this episode with some empanadas from Fantasia's Kitchen.
Great way to celebrate an episode.
Well, this is Fantasia's Kitchen. We're feasting it up right now.
This is good.
Beef
really good.
and cheese, chicken and cheese, and the Cuban empanada.
Fantasia, this is fantastic.
Delicious. Thank you so much for blessing us with this.
Guava.
Thank you guys for being with us for another episode of the Pastor's Hangover. Thank you, Fantasia's Kitchen, for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah.
We love your food. Thank you.
Yes.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Ridiculously good.